it sweeps better. That's just what you told us, and I wish a lot of us will really copy that. Before I leave, you're a writer.
Yep.
You are a poet.
Yep.
And I know that to be able to do that, you do a lot of reading. But far beyond reading, well, how do you relax?
How do I relax? Read.
That was why I took it away first, because I know you're going to tell me read.
I love to laugh, actually.
You like laughing?
Laugh. I love,
oh my God.
I love comedy. Love comedy.
So all the comedy shows, once I go to any comedy show, I'll be looking out for you.
Comedy channel. No, I don't go for shows, actually. I'm really not a physically social person. I just go to comedy channels, and I just start laughing.
Life is good.
Life is good. Yeah.
Life is really good.
Yeah.
And with your very small voice, I used to think my voice was small until I met yours. How were you able to shout on your children?
Shout on my children, shout on my children. Did I really shout on my children? I just had a way.
Shouting makes life go easy.
Yes, I did shout sometimes.
But I'm sure you didn't shout well. Because the voice is so small.
No, I don't have to shout, but my stained face will show you you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You know, I just had to look, just the eye, and they know they're in trouble.
All right. Finally, I'd like to know your philosophy of life.
My philosophy of life, one I can recall easily, is that hold yourself to the highest standard. Hold yourself. I think that's a sign of self-respect. So you supervise yourself.
Beautiful.
Before another person comes.
Beautiful.
So you don't give a chance to be insulted. So
that's the key word. I hate to be insulted, so I do everything to stay away from it.
Supervise yourself, and I think it's also the pathway to excellence.
Very good. Thank you so much. And if I'm an elderly person wanting to reach out to your center for one thing or the other, it could be advice, or it could be to contribute my skills, how do I go about it? Actually, somebody sent that message to us.
Very soon, our website will be on. I didn't know that it's not very easy to have a government website. You have to go through a lot of procedures and clearance. So very soon our website will be on. So every information you need to contact us, it's going to be there. And very soon our official address we will have. We're reaching the end of that process as well. So we will be in everybody's face and everybody's household, because they need to know where we are.
All right, for those of you who wrote asking about that, just stay on with us, because once she's ready with all of that, you'll get us informed. Definitely. And we'll make sure that I will bring it to you, to your doorstep. Thank you so much for coming. The show is The Woman, and this is where we say goodbye. We've been speaking with the latest Director General for National Senior Citizen Center here in Abuja, and very soon to be across the nation and beyond. Once you're Nigerian and you're above 70, you're entitled to participate in whatever activity they flow out. Her name is Dr. Omar. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll see you again next week. Bye.
Doctors that are not married and they're doing these things.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think first of all, we have to go back to you are very well known for teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria. Hello and welcome to another amazing edition of Your Weekend.
I'm telling you, it has to be heat, it has to be steamy, it has to be hot. But we've decided that, somebody has to tell a story that is family oriented.
I got you all to fight you!
Welcome to another edition of Talking Movie.
It's the man almost everyone he ever cared about.
See, when you say pour out, you can't call water. You can't see, you don't excavate water.
This is the #1 program, Gallery.
Do you love to gist or gossip?
It is extremely wrong. Love it.
Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Whip and Grill.
Welcome to the slant today, where we say it as it is and we get to enjoy ourselves talking about various things that are happening in our society.
I want to hear more, please. Beyond 6 packs.
But your job still remains as the man to protect the woman, to project the woman.
You need to do that again.
We dance like
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News Mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. No access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
The 2023 general elections are now a matter of weeks than months away, and the campaign trail of the various political parties have been crisscrossing the length and breadth of the country, soliciting for the votes of Nigerians. The provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 have made the 2023 election campaigns longer than normal for the political parties and their candidates, meaning they have longer time to sell their manifestos to Nigerians and woo the electorate. What are the dominant issues shaping the campaigns so far? And is the peace accord signed by all the political parties having any impact on the campaigns, which formally commenced since 28 September 2022? We shall bring various perspectives on the 2023 election campaigns on 30 Minutes today. My name is Mitaire Ikben, welcoming you to 30 Minutes on NTA News 24, and as always, the clock is ticking. Now, as the campaigns heat up ahead of the 2023 general elections, some Nigerians feel the manifestos and messages by the various political parties have been drowned by the carnivals and merrymaking that have characterized the campaigns so far. What has been the quality and content of the campaigns and messages emanating from them? Let's find out in this first report by Lydia Sampson.
Isaac David Michael is a young geologist who is passionate about ensuring peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. He's determined to pass his message through proactive engagement of youths by identifying common grounds he believes cut across differences globally. He says the youths are at the heart of every successful process, be it political or development. He's optimistic that positively engaged youths can set agenda for the 2023 elections by saying no to violence.
I'm 101% against violence in politics. You know, if you refer back to the previous times, you see that violence has never brought a good solution. It will rather bring the wrong governance into the country. And take, for instance, at the end of everything, you see some people leaving themselves being injured, some of them paralyzed, some of them find themselves in situation they never expected to be. So there is no way that violence will drive us to the right direction which we intend to go. So I am highly against violence, and I encourage my fellow youths as well to desist from it. Whatever they might have promised you will never stand. It's just for their own selfish gain. So I encourage everybody like me, not just the youths, even the elderly ones, to desist from violence.
Now, the much-awaited election will coincide with 24 years of uninterrupted democracy, the longest in the country's history. Already, agencies like the Center for Democracy and Development have predicted 2023 elections will most likely be the most challenging to conduct in Nigeria due to the raging security and political violence unfolding across the country and preparedness of the electoral body, INEC.
The question we are asking is, as you prepare for the election, for voting, how do you prepare to deal with political criminals who will manipulate the process? How do you prevent the political murderers who want to kill Nigerians because they want to rule? This has to do with enlightening the people on the provisions of the Electoral Act. Killing and murdering and manipulating the electoral process are all within the electoral offenses segment of the Electoral Act 2022. How many Nigerians are aware of those provisions? So our view is that the non-state actors who are the electors or the voters need to equally be prepared. The security agencies are developing the capacity of their people. INEC is developing the capacity of their staff. Political parties are developing the capacity of their party agents. Now, who monitors what will happen during the election? Yes, there are observers, but the issue is, how are the voters or electorates, their own capacities developed to be able to monitor those who manage the election to ensure that offenses are reduced, minimized, or even not seen?
Also, the conduct of presidential candidates are expected to shape the outcome of the polls. Experts say the credibility of the 2023 general election will depend on the degree to which citizens can vote freely without stress.
If you see also all the candidates that have come out, there are people that are passionate about this country. There are people that believe they have something they can offer. But then, when you look at the array of people that brought themselves forward, it is now up to Nigerians to now look at what has been happening and see, can we continue with the way we are doing things? Hasn't time come for us to now step back and think and say, like the saying goes, you can't be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. So perhaps Nigerians, more than ever before, would now be looking for something different from what we have been doing all along. And that is the kind of person that they are going to elect as their next president.
They reiterate that insecurity remains a critical issue, challenging the operation of INEC, with some INEC offices burnt down in some parts of the country. The prevailing structural, infrastructural, and has the cultural ecosystem in which the polls will take place is believed to have been compromised. Stakeholders agree prompt release of the full INEC budget could help in mitigating some of these issues, as adequate and timely funding is at the heart of quality elections.
I think the essence of the peace accord is for us to have a peaceful and credible transition. But unfortunately, as to the elections, about 135 on election day proper. And here we are again heading towards 2023. We've had pockets of violence here and there in some states where the ruling party has targeted the main opposition. And generally, besides the physical violence, there have been online violence and bullying. And that is very dangerous. Politicians are very intemperate. The use of language has been in the extreme. You understand? Sometimes bordering on personal attacks and not on issues of policies or agenda.
The role of security agencies as unbiased arbiters and subsequently the judiciary is important in determining the credibility of the election as that of the election management body. It is therefore understandable that calls on the security agencies to act professionally and impartially in dealing with insecurity and political conflict resonates across political parties. Insecurity, they admonish, must not be used as a tool to serve political interests by deploying political talks to perpetrate activities such as voter suppression in any part of the country.
It's quite a challenge. But there are laws and the security agencies can play their role. For instance, the violence that goes on online, on the internet, can be tackled using the cyber crime law that that the country has in place. The NSA last month told us that in 1 month, 52 cases of violence were recorded, and this is still very far from the election, at least 2 months, away from the election. So security agencies really need to be, up and about to ensure that these acts of violence are, dealt with decisively. And then the politicians, those that are contesting elections, they cannot caution their supporters enough. I expect that every opportunity they get, they should continue, to impress it on their supporters that we want violence-free elections and we cannot do it by ourselves. If you are as much as you are supporting us to win, we also expect you to support us to live up to the peace accord that we signed. And I think that it's only in doing this that we can have peaceful elections. Otherwise, the atmosphere is quite tense, and something needs to be done. If not, we could just be heading into a violent election, which nobody prays or hopes for, because it won't augur well for the country in the long run.
The call is for the peace accord signed by the political parties in September to be upheld as the unfolding scenario where opposition parties deny opponents the use of state public facilities at the subnationals is counterproductive, undemocratic, and negates the peace accord.
One hopes that the peace committee will have to call all the major political parties together and drum up the support, or drum up the warning on why politicians to adhere to the Electoral Act, guidelines on campaigns and use of language and being against violence. And I think Nigerians too have a duty to play. Supporters are not helping matters. Some supporters are very vociferous in their responses, and you find this majorly online. So if politicians are doing that, we as their followers and supporters can mitigate what is happening among the political elite. And it is very important we do this to have a peaceful, credible and transparent process in 2023.
There has to be campaign against election criminality, political criminality and murder, so that Nigerians will be aware. Whoever that is an ad hoc staff or a staff of INEC or whoever that compromises his position is a political criminal because he's operating outside the confines of the law. And whoever is a politician who will want to go and sponsor people to perpetrate violence is a murderer. And that person is not supposed to be allowed to operate. What we have seen all this while, people that perpetrate this political criminality and political murder, we've not heard that they are being prosecuted, we've not heard that they are being dealt with. And we've not seen a situation where the ordinary voter gets well informed about the provisions of the act that protects them and the punishments they are in. We are looking at a situation where the various institutions will tell us the arrangements they have to protect the integrity of the election from offenses and violence and crime being perpetrated.
Everybody needs to be focused, know what he wants. Number one, have your PVC, know the right person to vote for. If you are voting, don't allow anybody to carry you. Don't allow anybody to tell you who to vote for and who not to vote for. Choose the right person and vote for him.
The deployment of technology, they insist, must cover the grassroots to ensure no Nigerian is disenfranchised. The need for a nexus between the people at the grassroots, taxing political parties on issues that will positively impact the economic development of voters was also emphasized. Support groups must conduct and express their support with decency and accountability, playing by the rules governing political engagements. Isaac David Michael insists that if the issues are adhered to by all political parties, then Nigerians and even non-Nigerians can be optimistic of a credible hitch-free 2023 general elections.
Indeed, Lydia, the desire of everyone is for the 2023 elections to be hitch-free, and the disposition of political actors during the campaigns will go a long way to send the right signals for peaceful general elections. In our next report, Thomas Ogbetere brings us up to speed on what Nigerians expect from the campaigns going forward.
The electioneering campaign for the 2023 general election is ongoing. The different political parties and their candidates have been coming up with their manifestos to convince Nigerians to vote for them at the polls. Already, some Nigerians have the opinion that this electioneering cycle is better than the previous ones, even though it may not have met all the yearnings and aspirations of the people. They believe that there is more decorum across board.
While we cannot say that the campaigns have totally been free from mudslinging, it's a great departure from the past. You would see that in this electoral cycle, if anything at all, there's so much emphasis on things like town hall. There's so much emphasis on things like manifesto. Virtually, the top 5 or top 4 presidential candidates, for example, released a document which they've said Nigerians should hold them by. So when you look at it from that prism, that perspective, you will see that to a large extent, this electoral cycle has shown a lot of maturity in our political space. But there are issues here and there. You still see that some candidates in particular decide to throw jabs at their opponents. And when you look at it from that light, it's not been a very healthy. And then we've seen skirmishes of violence in some states. And then there's also been intolerance. We see some governors are not allowing other opponents or people they are opposed to campaign. They come up with ridiculous executive orders. You can't use a primary school, pay so amount, some exorbitant amount, just because they want to frustrate their opponents.
People are campaigning or talking to the electorate based on what they can deliver. It's a human thing that sometimes you can see friction.
Burning issues like insecurity, unemployment, banditry, kidnapping, and inflation, among others, may be well known to Nigerians. Nevertheless, political parties and their candidates are expected to tell the electorate exactly how they intend to practically solve each and every challenge.
We want people to come out and tell us how they intend to improve on security. Are you pursuing kinetic and non-kinetic policies? When you're talking about the economy, are you trying to see how to bridge a gap between the fiscal and monetary policies in ways and manner that it will bring an economy that will resonate with current interests of Nigerians? Are you expanding the space that would allow the youths to have more jobs to do? Are you improving on current infrastructure that will create opportunities for people and Nigerians generally? Are you trying to see how to improve on revenue earnings so that it can put less pressure on our debts and allow Nigerians to begin to benefit from opportunities that will come therein? These are the issues that I think we should continue to focus on and not take our eyes off the ball.
All of them are saying they will industrialize Nigeria. We understand. What are you doing with our rural populace? How are you going to improve on the rural areas? Our industries should not start from the city. Our industrialization should start from the rural, from the interiors. How are you going to open the feeder roads what are you going to do to give them electricity? Differently from saying I will go and build dam, I'm going to put up a power generation. I think the world has surpassed that. What we want to hear from our politicians is that there are various means of generating electricity. Are we discarding or are we going to put it vice versa? You have area you can do turbine. You have areas you can go into solar. You have area you can go into hydro. You have area you can go into wind. I'm not hearing that.
Another issue that has been dominant during the electioneering process is the level of awareness. Observers advocate the involvement of all stakeholders, including the political parties, in the awareness campaign. They emphasize the need to, as a matter of urgency, start sensitizing Nigerians on the details of the new Electoral Act, including the use of beavers and the place of technology in the general election. This, they say, will help gain the confidence of Nigerians and the international community, which will in turn aid credibility of the process.
Now, you have the beavers, the result could be electronically transmitted. And so those who thought they can easily rig the election before, they are not knowing that now you have to work. So instead of just staying in one place, abusing people, abusing it, they are trying to work because this is a new system. For the first time, people are believing that votes will count. And that is why it looks like there's a shift. But let us see that, let the election come, and then we'll know whether Nigerians have learned more or not.
Some others seem to be more concerned about the need for political parties and their candidates, as well as supporters, to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship during and particularly after the elections by accepting the outcome of the poll. They are also expected to work with the winners to ensure the rapid socio-economic and political development of the country.
Anybody involved in this process of contesting should naturally have the spirit of sportsmanship. In other words, when you win, you win. When you lose, you lose. And you must accept the results provided the will of the people is allowed to prevail.
I want to urge politicians that country first before you. National interest should guide their activities, utterances. If you have national interest and you believe that you are in a competition, and in that competition, one person must win.
So far, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has earned the commendation of Nigerians over its role in ensuring the strict implementation of the electoral guidelines. INEC was also called upon to ensure that no part of the Electoral Act is compromised.
I commend the efforts of the President for firstly signing the Electoral Act into law, because that itself has entrenched a new direction in our voting experience. Secondly, I want to commend the effort of the INEC chairman. So far, he has done very well. And I'm sure he wants to leave an enduring legacy to ensure that votes count. You know, to ensure that people's will is allowed to prevail. To ensure that whatever comes out of any election will be the result of people's will. And so far, with the machinery they put in place, I think rigging will be very difficult. And most importantly, like I said, the real game changer is this swap, this change in currency, which will make very little cash available. And for prospective contestants, it is about coming to sell yourself now, not about how much you can pay.
We also believe that the Yakubu-led INEC is doing well for their harassment. But we hope that when the election finishes, we'll not hear another story about them, because that is where we know how well they are doing. But so far, what they have put down, electronic transfer votes, beavers, removal of incidents for, so far they are doing well. I can say that this government and this President INEC, if they continue where they are doing, the INEC chairman and other work, they would have written their name in gold. For 100 years, Nigeria will continue to remember them
Some are also of the opinion that it is also time for those contesting for the position of the states and federal houses of assembly to be more engaged by the electorate and the media so that they could be held responsible for their electoral promises if elected.
This is the 9th assembly. The 10th assembly will be sworn in next year, May. What we need to do is to identify people, even if not in politics. We must identify who want to lead us. We must have a meaning of what leadership means.
Most of the people who you interview on the street, they are more interested about who become president. But the National Assembly is another critical area. You are going to elect 469 persons to the Senate and the House of Reps combined. Whoever you elect is likely to be an authoritarian. It's likely to be a despot in power if he does not have a solid National Assembly of effective lawmakers that can challenge whatever he is now, his action would be.
Campaigns and political activities for National Assembly offices and State Assembly offices are going on and going on very well. Of course, you would not expect to see much of it on national television because they are all local. So when you go to the local environment, you see activities going on for where elections are expected to hold. So between you and I, nobody has lost focus on that. And
there were high hopes that the 2023 general election will ultimately define the destiny of Nigeria positively.
It remains to be seen how much impact the electioneering campaigns will have on next year's general elections and how much of the campaign promises being bandied about now will be fulfilled. That's the much time will allow us on the program today. Be on the lookout next week for another interesting topic on 30 Minutes. I am Mitaire Ikben. Bye for now.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation, with cultural and media influence throughout the entire continent. But it's facing a conservation crisis. Its wildlife and national parks are highly endangered by poaching and illegal logging. It's the epicenter of the illegal trade in ivory and pangolin scales, with tons of products representing thousands of animals seized in recent times by customs. It has strong demand for illegal bushmeat that endangers animals and risks introduction of zoonotic disease. But Nigeria could be a conservation leader. With Lagos leading the way, Nigeria is updating its wildlife legislation. It's improving its wildlife law enforcement, and it's revolutionizing its public awareness. WildAid and its Nigerian partners are launching the largest ever conservation awareness program in Africa to drastically increase coverage of wildlife issues. Working with government agencies, working with the media, working with prominent Nigerian ambassadors.
Report suspicious activity and wildlife crime.
To promote Nigeria's national parks. To promote wildlife law enforcement. to raise awareness of the dangers of illegal bushmeat, and to promote alternatives. Nigeria can go from crisis to becoming a leader in conservation.
So let's do the right thing.
Tell your family and friends to say no to illegal bushmeat.
Keep them wild, keep them wild.
Keep them wild, keep us safe, and keep us safe.
And there's a start again.
Archbishop of basketball, go! He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree.
NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, Star Sat on Channel 434, and Free TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.
President Buhari receives Nigerians honored by Niger Republic.
It was all well justified, and it will build better relationship between the two countries.
Senate postpones passage of budget.
Our committee secretariats are not able to finish processing the budget for us to take today nor tomorrow.
Central Bank of Nigeria briefs House of Representatives on new policies.
Nigeria is judged 6th in the world for instant real payments, 10, and these have been some of the initiatives that have come off of cashless.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss making 2022 Christmas count.
All right, of course, December every year comes with a lot of activities, and that's of course because it is a month of festivities, the course of the Christmas celebrations. It is also the season which ushers in a new year, characterized of course by many activities, buying and selling, traveling, outings, fun fairs. It is the season that is, brings families together in a kind of reunion. It's also a season that ushers in stock taking at the end of the year. But for many other people, it's also a time when they prepare for the new year. It is also associated with the usual New Year resolutions, and Kieran.
All the things that go with celebration. All right, and while people may be having fun or even being carried away by the activities, of course, of Christmas, it is pertinent to also note that the season also comes with its own downsides, which may include a rise in theft, fraud, robbery, and other crimes. Of course, we know now that the criminality in Nigeria is having different dimensions, because we just started hearing about, banditry not quite long ago. But
well, it's only going to be an unusual Christmas, characterized, of course, with so many activities, including insecurity. Now, the security agencies are, however, I say, things are in place to tackle whatever criminal activities, that might come up, and that, of course, they have upped their game, changing strategies specifically to attack vulnerable, people lost in the festivities. So it is in this regard that security at Yuletide is always a major concern, and it is further compounded by the fact that criminals take cover amidst large crowd of celebrants to perpetrate their nefarious activities.
Now, and for the Federal Road Safety Corps, it is another time to commence the preparation with a mandate to eradicate road traffic crashes and create safe motoring environment for Nigerians. Bearing that in mind, the Corps has said it had, for the year 2022, experienced 8% reduction of road crashes as compared to last year. Of course, in the course of the program, we should get to know more about that data, because I know that that last year Nigeria ranked about the second, when it comes to road crashes globally.
And Kieran, it's the traffic is heaviest during this period, especially from the southwest to the south. You're not traveling, are you?
And we have very poor drive culture. I just came back from Enugu
yesterday. You see, it is for people like Kieran, that the FIOC is deploying 25,224 personnel, over 11,000 special marshals, 743 patrol vehicles, as well as mobile courts across the country for this season and New Year celebrations, all for your comfort.
Yes, well, I would have suggested that that should continue from January to December, not just during the festivities.
But you know why? You know why?
I wouldn't know why, because there should be continuity, when you want to, get something achieved. We're barely 2 days, Claire, to Christmas. Another major concern is that of the high cost of food items and transportation, which seem to be taking the gleam out of the celebration for many Nigerians. You know more about that. I also know that there's a little bit of high costs.
Not a little bit. Well, you don't go to the market. So those of us who go to the market know, the margin of increase. Have you bought your chickens yet? Do you know how much?
I'm not responsible for that. My wife is.
You see?
I provided for it.
All right. Yeah. So while some traders say they have low patronage occasioned by the high cost of food items and wares, which according to them is not the making, consumers are, of course, of the view that food, which is the main attraction for this season, is gradually being priced out of the reach of many households.
And a market survey on some food items revealed that a 50 kg bag of locally produced rice, which sold for between 26,000 and 27,000 during the third quarter of the year, has risen actually to between 40 and 50,000. The same can also be said for livestock such as chicken, turkey, goats. The list goes on, Claire.
So we've told you the different areas that, of course, will impact how people mark or celebrate Christmas this year in just a few days time. Security at Yuletide is very important. You want to know why? Rising cost of food items is another major issue that will impact how Christmas is celebrated. But the big question we'll be asking on today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria is, how can we manage all this? How can we make the best of not too pleasant situation at Christmas? How can we checkmate road accidents during Christmas periods? How can we, of course, keep up with the traditions of Christmas with our little income. These are some of the issues we will look at, and I'm sure our newscaster this morning will probably give us an insight, because I know she has a lot of experience when it comes to food items, marketing, and bargaining. I'm talking about and go ahead.
And chief supplier of rice. If you get, yeah. Well, we thank you for joining us. I am Kirian Omar, and of course, my colleague Claire at the level. We're going to bring you complimentary segments in the course of the program, as always. And for now, we'd like to bring in Anne Chibuno for real.
She's already there. She's already there. And she says you are a marketer of rice, but we don't know that. All I know is that I know you are a good cook. So you know what the prices are in the market.
Well, that conversation is off camera. Off camera. Good morning, Claire and Kieran. Good morning, Nigeria. Here's the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed formal appreciation to his counterpart from the Nigerian Republic, Mohamed Bazoum, for conferring on non-Nigerian citizens the country's prestigious National Honors Awards. This was while receiving the award recipients on a thank you visit on return from Miami, the country's capital city.
The president was quite pleased, and he showed appreciation and happiness that all neighboring countries, Benin Republic, Cameroon and Chad, in terms of building relationship with Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the topmost priority accorded the welfare and well-being of police officers by his administration is a deliberate attempt at enhancing the nation's internal security for effective management of the country. The president stated this while granting audience to the acting chairman and commissioners of the Police Service Commission. Good to use my script.
Much grateful, and we appreciate all the efforts you are making in enhancing and making available the welfare of the current police officers. You put smiles on their faces.
I think in the space of time and resources, I think we have done our best. It's still on the side whether our best is good enough.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called for the adoption of independent but creative sources of funding that include endowment funds to complement budgetary allocation to universities. Professor Osinbajo, in audience with the delegation from the Olabisi Onabanjo University, notes that the future of public university education hinges on adopting a business model administered by serious-minded people. The Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Abola, appreciates the VP's selfless contribution to the growth of the university as a pioneer lecturer in the Faculty of Law, building it from the scratch, his mentorship and the entrenchment of a culture of research at the institution. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the presidential candidate of the opposition PDP, that's the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has positioned himself to sack people from their jobs and worsen the security situation in the country. The minister stated this at the 15th edition of the PNB School Card Series in Abuja, which featured the Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Binyadi.
Alhaji Atiku has simply informed Nigerians that he will reverse all the efforts made by the PNB administration to achieve self-sufficiency in the production of many staples, especially rice. By that statement, the former Vice President has informed the country's millions of rice farmers that they will soon lose their jobs.
The Senate has postponed the passage of the 2023 appropriation bill to Wednesday, the 28th of December, 2022, 2 days after Christmas. The Senate had announced that it will passed the budget Thursday this week.
We are not able to receive the report of the committee. Our committees had to start a process of cleaning up the bill first. That process, of course, also engaged the executive arm because the problem came from there.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has informed the House of Representatives that Nigeria made remarkable progress in the global financial stage since the launch of the cashless policy in 2012, as this placed the country in the same league with countries like India and China. The Deputy Governor of the CBN in charge of financial stability stated this while briefing House members during plenary on policies recently introduced by the CBN.
Is judged sixth in the world for instant real payments. We are the only African country in the top 10, and this has been as a result of some of the initiatives that have come off of cashless.
In the United States and other places, even when the law or the policy takes effect, you are allowed to continue to use the old mode at the same time until it's completely phased out.
Federal government has declared Monday 26th, Tuesday 27th December 2022 and Monday 2nd January 2023 as public holiday to mark the Christmas, Boxing Day and New Year's Day celebrations. Minister of Interior Ralph Aribechola, in a statement on behalf of the federal government, felicitates with Christians and all Nigerians at home and in the diaspora on the celebrations. Aribechola joins Christians to emulate the doctrines of Christ in faith, hope and love, stating peace and security as critical conditions for economic development and prosperity. The minister wishes all Christians in particular a happy Christmas and all Nigerians a peaceful and prosperous New Year celebrations. On that note, we conclude the news, but the program continues shortly with Kieran and Claire. Thanks for staying with us.
It's a little for Nigeria, for better days are coming, better days that gives us hope and strength. To keep this hope alive, bring the smile back to all Nigerians.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. Renewed hope beckons on our people. The silver lining dots the skies. The firmament portends a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust for the realization of their aspirations for a better Nigeria. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He has been tested. He can be trusted. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria 2023. Vote Kashim Shettima as Vice President. Vote APC. Surely with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the smiles are returning. We are close to home.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a MiFi for 5,000 naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Government of the season, we are quite delighted to thank the following people and institutions for their consistent goodwill and patronage and for supporting the proudly Nigerian dream. His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, First Lady Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, ShopRite, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Convenient University, Nes Cash and Carry, Market Square, Prince Ebano, Buka Hospitality, Sahad Stores, Anglican Diocese of Amish and Nnewi, Catholic Diocese of Onitsha, Just Right Stores, and Aspire Nigeria. What about you? Are you not aware that when you buy made in Nigerian brands like Erisco, you are supporting the creation of more jobs in Nigeria? We therefore enjoin you to patronize made in Nigerian brands like Erisco Foods and join our numerous partners, distributors, and customers who have built a good relationship with us because they believe in eating healthy food and in economic progress of our country. Thank you and God bless you all.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health because they deserve the best. Oral B, all-round protection. It's great value. It protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message from the National Orientation Agency.
As we close a successful year 2022 and prepare for the start of a better year 2023, the Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, wishes to appreciate and share the love with all who gave us a year to remember for good. The three arms of government, ministries, departments and agencies, corporate bodies and advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups and political parties. Most importantly, you, our esteemed viewer, we say thank you. Together, we made 2022 great. Let's make 2023 greater. Once again, we say thank you, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year from all of us at the NTA. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Indeed, you can't beat our rich. That's the NTA. And this is Good Morning Nigeria and the Network Service. Time to join Alika Okpanachi Arwa for some business news.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantami, has emphasized that quality software development will be essential in expanding Nigeria's digital economy. Pantami made the remark at the first software testing conference in Lagos. Professor Pantami also acknowledged that the importance of software in global development is essential. In another development, the Nigerian Ports Authority has canvassed repositioning of the shipping industry. The Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, has charged stakeholders to make the shipping business beyond mere vessel and cargo handling and explore other opportunities. He disclosed this at an award in Lagos. Now let's take a look at Thursday tradings on the floor of the exchange. With business news, Alika Okpanachi Arwa.
Thank you indeed, Alika, for that business package. We appreciate that. Next on Good Morning Nigeria is a review of today's national dailies.
All right, it's time to welcome Chooks the boy, Chukwudokoli Baja.
It has not
been this cold since the Hamatan, broke out.
Indeed.
My jaws are not clattering, but Claire, I must admit that I hate the cold condition. But I'm happy to be here.
You are not alone, Casey. I mean, Chukwudi, and I wish Chukwudi, could do some of his footwork for us, but Chukwudi don't. Don't start.
The footwork I had in the newsroom?
No, don't start.
I'll be tired.
Okay, Chukwudi, good to have you this morning. Thank you for joining us. And we have 2 papers to review here. And of course, look at what Chukwudi has in stock for us. For now, let's go to the Daily Sun newspaper. Just besides the nameplate, 2023 polls, Buhari National Assembly, 4.5 billion to fuel police vehicles. That's on page 28. Now, the lead story, my administration will be driven by youths and women. That's according to Obi of the Labour Party. It's on page 8. Now, PDP, APC fight over alleged plot to scuttle 2023 polls. Right to that, disagree on competency of presidential candidates. It's on page 8. Now, there are other striking stories here, or headlines rather. We ordered 500 million pieces of new Naira notes. That's the CBN. Says new cash withdrawal limit not political. It's on page 6. I feared dead. Many injured. Well, one feared dead. Well, this is not well captured. But again, it's about a road accident in Lagos. It's where 4 die on Lagos Abuja Expressway. It's on page 5. Now, troops kill 103 terrorists, arrest 40 others, destroy 57 illegal refineries. That's on page 4. Security, IGP accedes to Governor Ugwan's request for more personnel and equipment. Inaugurate 76 police mobile force squadron built by Enugu State Governor. That's on page 26. Soku oil field dispute, Bayelsa asks Ramfak to obey Supreme Court order. That's on page 6. I will unveil preferred presidential candidates in January. That's according to Wike, on page 8. Now, errors delay passage of 2023 appropriation bill. The story is also on page 6. As a writer to that, Senate reps now to budget next Wednesday. Atiku will implement PIA's provision on host community funds, as according to COA. It's on page 8 of the Daily Sun. Claire.
All right. The front page of Leadership Friday. It's all about politics. It's all about elections. It's all about ambitions. It's all about 2023. I'll just take the very salient ones. The lead story on the front page, Tinubu Obi speak to issues, underscore governance plans. They all have riders there as to what they want to do. And also to the right column, no amount of threat will stop 2023 elections. Of course, that's a vow given by the federal government. But just away from those political stories, you have illegal abortions. Report vindicates army fingers foreign NGOs. Details of that on page 6. Kaduna emerges best performing state in World Bank's ANRIN project. And this is a very interesting one. 7 uni Abuja lecturers get 1 billion naira research grants, and this is very commendable. Interesting things are happening at that university, I hear. So I think this is commendable, Chukwudi. But just before I come to you, let's take a look at the stories just beneath the nameplate. Cash withdrawal limit, Naira redesign, not political, and that's the CBN speaking to members of the National Assembly yesterday. So, Chooks the boy.
Yeah, you can see that the papers are not screaming in terms of headlines, because we've come to that part of the year when you practically have to search for stories. And this is the time I ask newsrooms to show us that we know that Nigerians own the news. Lifestyle and community news, this is the time you air those. Now, let's start with the National Assembly deferring passage of the budget. Let's forget the blame aspect of it. The important thing is that the Senate is saying they are reconvening on Wednesday, and hopefully by Thursday this they are going to pass the budget themselves. The House of Representatives is also not left out in the urgency being built into moving towards this the signature of the president for this appropriation plan for the country. We have to commend the fact that since this administration started, there have been spirited attempts for the budget to be passed early enough. Remember what happens when the estimates drag into March, April. Fine. The presidency, the ministries, they are free to spend some amount of money, percentage, when the budget has not been passed. But the real thing is when the budget is passed early enough and spending goes into earnest, so that the economy does not take any fallout from monies that should come into the flow, not coming in when it should. So I think this is very good. Let them come back, the lawmakers, and do what they have promised to do by Wednesday and Thursday, so that Nigerians would have a smooth sail in terms of getting monies to spend early in the year. The other story that attracts my attention here is the one coming from the Minister of Police Affairs. That's Dr. Mohammed Megadi.
Yes,
Dingadi. I was going to ask you to make sure I don't mispronounce that name. I hate it when newscasters mispronounce local names. Then they go all the way Mikhail Gorbachev. They become very Russian and refuse to be Nigerian. So thank you for pronouncing that name well. Now, he was talking when he was given the report card on the activities of his ministry since its return in 2019. And you see, when I hear things about the police, I feel very good. Nigerians have this, many of us have this sarcastic attitude towards the police. I am not supporting a situation where the police do not live above board. Remember, they're in the full glare of publicity, so they need to put out an attitude that doesn't suggest that we are people who are not mindful of the image we put out. But I always say that the police are not really being given enough attention by Nigerian people. I'm happy that July 2022, a new salary structure came into place. Their welfare was being worked on. I used to tell my friend, if you want to know how poor our policemen are, go to the barracks and look at their window. The curtain you see there simply puts you off. So I'm happy that something has happened to them from July 2022, and they're now being positioned to serve us better.
Yes, I may just have to come into on this police issue, because I'm particularly concerned about the police. I had experience some time ago, an IG of police. I was asked to go and cover an event at the police headquarters, and I confronted the IGP then to say, because I came there and I met a well-dressed, dressed policemen, at the headquarters, so sparkling. In fact, if you're a criminal and you see any of them, you'll be very much careful, what you're going to do. Right, but I have said, what about the men on the road, the operationals? They don't look healthy. They look tattered. And you are talking about deserving respect from the public. It's not possible, because the policemen who are carrying out their responsibilities on the streets or roads across Nigeria, they pick monies from people. Because they said, look, okay, don't give bribe. You can only give bribe when you commit an offense. But when you look at a man carrying AK-47 under the sun, and then with tattered shoes, and the battered, trousers and all of that, you are appreciating. It's natural. You appreciate it. It may not be the right thing to do, but if police is well equipped and these people are properly paid, then this issue of respect will not be there. Because if you see a policeman well kitted with all the gadgets around him, you don't.
I don't know what Claire feels about it, but I'm happy we're talking.
Sometimes it's also
police must be looked after.
Yes, Chukudi and Kiran. Sometimes it also depends upon the individual. The individuals have it because if you see others well kitted, looking clean, looking decent, you know, and the same they're of the same
Those
rank
who are
and file.
working for politicians.
The same, no.
Let me tell you this. That is true. Those who are working.
Also,
we should not fight over this.
If you want to know,
journalists, as I keep saying,
no.
would never agree.
You know,
we understand.
We are observers.
But the people
observers
at the headquarters are well dressed. The people who run around with the politicians are well dressed. You get into onto the streets, it's not exactly the same story anymore, Claire. I think
we are over generalizing.
But the most important thing to note is that they got better welfare salaries from July 2022. We must not lose sight of that.
And don't forget that
it's
some of them
surprising.
also, I don't know what the situation is now, you know, purchased their uniforms, their boots.
By themselves now, of course. So when the one they give you gets old, you replace it by yourself.
Anyway, the story I would love, and this is because we kept, you know, on this program, we've talked about the need for our university professors to engage in research activities. And that is a very low area in our educational sector. And if seven lecturers are getting awards, you know, because of their publications in, I just want to read this out, publications in first-class journals across the world, and they're getting about 1 billion naira, a total of 1 billion naira for publication. This paper did not say what those research publications are on, but the fact that they have been recognized is something that we must commend. It's something that we must also encourage. You know, in other universities.
You know, when we talk about research by the universities, you're talking about a path of development for the nation. They are the people charged to chart new ways of thinking and doing things. Remember the yam pounder way back? Who invented it?
Nigerian.
A Nigerian. That was a major step towards helping household activities and all that, easing the process of cooking and all that. Our universities need to be looked at. Our professors or the dons there need to get money so that they can actually. When we were in the university, it didn't seem to me that the lecturers were really interested in their salaries as much as they were interested in curiosity that was going to lead to better quality of life for people. So this is very important.
Yeah, in terms of research and development, we have over 100 research institutes across Nigeria. And in terms of universities as well, many universities have been carrying out researches over the years. I'm glad that these gentlemen have been selected globally and honored. And what have you. Now, our challenge is not in science development. It is not in the intellectual capacity or ability of our professors. It is in implementing what they have put in place. If you have a research result and cannot be translated into reality, into product, we normally say it becomes beautiful. We normally say move it from the laboratory to the floor of the manufacturing sector, and that way it will get to the public.
You make me jealous the way you count.
And philosophers say theory without practical is blind,
exactly,
and vice versa. Yes. So, but this is just a caution, and we'll sign off for a newspaper review. It's on the inside page 6 to be precise, of the leadership. It's a warning from China. It says Shanghai hospital warns of tragic battle as pandemic, that's COVID-19 pandemic, spreads. It says it has warned its staff to prepare for a tragic battle with COVID-19 as it expects half of the city's 25 million people to be infected by the virus by the end of next week, while the virus sweeps through China largely unchecked. So this is in fact, it's scary.
You know, when the government was practically forced by the protests to relax the COVID restrictions and all that, you know, China, we're talking about 1.4 billion people. Some of the things you take for granted in economies that have 50 million people, 100 million, you can't try it in China. I understand. So I guess they have to think again.
You know, Shanghai is how do I put it now? Shanghai is the nucleus of Chinese economy.
Okay,
and if anything happens there economically,
so Kiran, we have to go. But I know you observed two things. One thing, Kiran and Chukwudi have come with their red caps, and red is the root of glass and wine, indicating that both of them are already ready for fruit.
They are two different
You
words.
didn't.
All right,
He had a
I
theory
really
on
want the
time,
time
and
to
you
break.
didn't say thank you to him. Come.
There are two different cups here. They are red. Yes.
Please, producer. All right, take it from here.
Okay.
All right, take a short break.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes, and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal, and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
The occasion gives cause for reflection and reminds us of the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country.
All ministries, power status, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
Operation Wild Punch covers Kaduna and Niger State. The operation was recently reorganized to also cover the critical Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, which had a defunct standby alone operation codenamed Operation Thunder Strike. Additionally, as part of the Operation Wild Punch, a subsidiary operation codenamed Operation Forest Sanity has also been launched to flush out the terrorists from the forest that straddle Kaduna and Niger states. These efforts were geared towards flushing out criminal elements from the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway and its environment. I am pleased to inform that Kaduna Expressway has been secured through a combined efforts of the armed forces, the police, and other security agencies.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
The counsel of our fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youth, let's build our nation together.
All right, right, once again, I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. And if you've just joined us, you're right on time for our conversation to kickstart. And as a prompt for that, we would like to join Abdul Salam Jubril, and he will give us the prompts put together by him.
Christmas is celebrated around the world with joyful carols, brightly wrapped gifts, merriments, and festivities. In the build-up to Christmas celebrations in Nigeria, decorations begin to appear in streets, homes, shops, and offices, with many businesses and religious bodies promoting events that reflect the season. Usually, many households catch the Christmas fever at this period as Christmas trees beautify the streets and neighborhoods come alive with string lights and buntings. This time, except for a very few, many streets that usually come alive this period seems not to have caught the Christmas bug. The usual Christmas hampers that are presented as gifts by individuals, groups, and corporate organizations during the celebrations seems to be absent also. Dealers that trade in hampers have expressed disappointment in low patronage, stressing that they rocketed more sales compared to this time last year. Apart from the usual festivities during Christmas, reports have shown that the season also comes with a rise in crime and criminalities. This is also the season when Nigerians embark on the annual ritual of traveling to spend time with family and friends. The question is, how secure are the roads? Guests will be speaking on these and other issues on this edition of Good Morning Nigeria.
It promises to be an exciting topic, making 2022 Christmas count. And we've told you the templates that we will be discussing, what might impact how you spend your Christmas. We'll look at security, we'll look at, of course, the part of your income and other issues. But we have our guests all here in the studio and, of course, those joining us via Zoom. Let me begin with Joshua Kayode Fanola, who is the Deputy Corps Marshal, Operations, Federal Road Safety Corps. I would like to thank you very much for joining us for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Also here with us is Wing Commander Musa Salmanu, retired, is a development, peace and security expert. And I know he's not tired because he's quite young. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, on the other side, I'm very tired. I'm very tired. Well, thank you for having me. Okay. And of course, Jido Ojo, the public affairs analyst, is here with us. Jido, of course, is a household name on Good Morning Nigeria. And via Zoom from Ilori, the capital of Kwara State, we have to introduce Najim Yassin, Vice President, International Transport Federation. We're glad to have you join us this morning. Well, I just hope that Najim had me. Once again, good morning, Najim, and welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. We want to establish whether you can hear us from here.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Good. That's interesting. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Welcome to the program. Yes. Well, I wouldn't even know the particular area to go to. We're talking about security.
Let me start.
We're talking about security.
Let me start.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me start. And I just would like to ask everyone here if you've noticed anything unusual, about. It's just a few days to Christmas. Have you noticed anything unusual? I've been, normally by now, Jide, you will see hampers, colors, you will see activities, but I don't know. Let me start with you. Anything unusual?
Well, what is unusual is what you've just mentioned, the economic crunch, which has made many of us to have very quiet Christmas celebrations. You see, by now, most corporations, agencies will have had very elaborate decorations around the offices, the music, the carols, and so everything is limited to school now. It's not school carols. So when when the children have their carols, that's the maybe churches. But for us, the hampers are no longer circulated. I don't know. I've not yet received one. Maybe it's coming. I wouldn't know. In time past, sometimes I get up to 5. But the economic crunch has not allowed people to celebrate the way we used to. And then, of course, the fuel queues, again, high cost of living has made Christmas, whether you like it or not, you have to really reduce your spending on Christmas. Given the fact that in another week or 2, schools resumes, and then school fees, it starts you in the face. But nevertheless, people still celebrate because it's not the Christmas celebration is not the elaborate, lavish, ostentatious display of opulence. It is actually in appreciating God for keeping you alive and for understanding the reason for the season, which is somebody, a savior born, to save the world.
Mankind.
So if you have that understanding, whether you have money or not, whether you could celebrate lavishly or not, it wouldn't matter as much. In fact, I couldn't buy any Christmas clothes for the children, given the fact that we're looking at another 2 weeks or thereabout school fees.
Okay, Jide, because when she said something unusual that you've noticed, I've not seen anything unusual. I mean, because Christmas comes every year. And every year we sit here to discuss the same thing, and see the same things. So
there are traditions. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
There are traditions that are associated with Christmas, overtly or otherwise. Apart from the spiritual element of Christmas, there are
activities
activities that you and I know that are no longer being
exactly. I think the right word here is that people are now checking their pockets, like right. But people are still celebrating one way or another. And when Jide came from a spiritual angle, we all know that we have a man called Jesus Christ, whose birth, death, resurrection, and promised second coming form the bedrock of Christian faith. But in a bid to celebrate him, we don't have to spend all we have because we're celebrating. But he wouldn't be happy if you do that. So being unusual is always the same thing always. And the person that will tell us about unusual things should be the FRS. Because coming back from Enugu yesterday by road, I saw one bus like that. I cannot imagine how the bus was loaded. Up, by the side, at the back, every part of that bus, even the bonnet. So I said, okay, the artistry in putting that together is what I was watching, not even the offense. So if you see if you see it, you first of all appreciate the artistry, the skill. Do that before you now ask him, what about your tires and what have you? And when you now enter and get the driver, one man who is struggling to survive in Nigeria, and you want to tell him, why are you loading all this? He will tell you, look, this trip, I'm only making 1 trip a day, and after this trip I will go home. He will take, so what would you do to him? If you charge him, would you even have the money to pay? And so there are usual things from your angle. So tell us more what your men have been telling you from across the nation.
Okay, thank you very much, you've said it all. Actually, this season it means so much to different groups of people. Those people we are talking about, actually, some of them, you will see them on the highway once in a year. And possibly they are coming from all these farmsteads, interior, not just village, but they are coming from the farm.
The hinterland.
Yes. And they are coming to show their face in the villages, in the city for the first time this year. And they have to come to show that while we were away, God blessed us. So you will see them, they will carry goat on top of their bus, they will carry food items, they will carry things they are going to give to people, and then what they are going to eat for this period before they go back. So we expect that. In short, that is the usual for this period. But our emphasis will be on how to ensure that people are able to get to where they are going safely. So that kind of situation, well, we'll stop the person to let him know that you constitute danger to yourself and to the other road users. But we will not allow that one person to, corner our attention when we need to make the traffic flow. That is one. Then two, we need to also understand that this period is harvesting period for farmers. It is period of festivities. It is a period of heightened activity for transporters. You see some of the vehicles that they have parked for almost 1 year, they quickly do some
minor
repairs on it
Emergency
and put it on the road. Yes, and put it on the road because yes, of course, such vehicles they collect money from passengers, maybe from Abuja, and then get to Gwagwalada, Abaji, and break down, and then you'll be looking at each other's faces. Let me call my manager. The vehicle has spoiled, but they have collected the money. So these are the usuals for this period. For us, they are usual, and sometimes you find yourself. People say road safety, we are stranded here. So what can you do? You are the government that we can see. We will have to go and look for bus for them because they are stranded. And we are the only government they can see now. They say this man, he has deceived us. So that is for us, it's yes, like I was saying. So for now, this is
Christmas goat.
Yes, Christmas goat. And the person say, "Oh, road safety, so please, you will not allow us to celebrate." So we are between allowing them to celebrate and ensuring safety.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Let's bring in Wing Commander Musa Salman, retired now. And the kind of activities that go on during this period, it's one that makes insecurity. They talk about insecurity. It whittles down the hype about insecurity. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. When you asked about something unusual, for me, it was just okay. The unusual would be the issues of security incidents. Are they going up or they are going down? The usual perhaps now is we will anticipate that there are going to be increase in incidences, either minor like burglary and so on, but also in terms of major crimes and even violence or conflict like we have seen in the past. Now, so we ask the questions, are there operations like the Python dance being commissioned now and so on? You hear that that has not... I can't remember if the army launched another operation of late, especially that used to be during this time because of the issues of crime and so on, surge in crime and so on. So for me, it seems things perhaps I would want to be on the positive side, improvement. And even if you go look at numbers in terms of kidnappings, in terms of attacks, and so on and so forth, you hear that the numbers are showing that there's some level of improvement if you compare with other years and so on. And so the unusual for me is that we're being optimistic that things are getting better. And this Christmas is going to be, in terms of major crimes, perhaps a very good one. Now, if you add it to kind of trying to explain maybe the other crimes in terms of burglary and so maybe because of the economy that Jide spoke about, so thieves are tired and say, okay, well, even when we go there, the effort we put in and what we get in return is so reduced. But then in terms of security, I think things are...
Yes. Yesterday on this program, we had the spokesperson of the DCI, the Immigration Service, and he said in Lagos alone you had about 150 Nigerian diasporans, returning home. Now, does that give us an insight into, again, the level of security?
So, for me to comment on that, perhaps is to know what is the figure the previous years and so on. So, if he's saying that, perhaps maybe there's an increase.
Yes.
So, if there's an increase, it shows confidence. It shows people feel either safer where they are coming to, or where they are now is also getting hotter. So in a way, anyway, they feel home. It's whatever it is. Let me be back home. Let me be with my people. It's a usual period, like this year I said. It's the period that people move around.
Yeah.
And with that, that's where the issues of insecurity come.
Yeah.
People move around, people come together, both the good and the bad. People live where they are, so people, the bad guys know that there are no people at home. Businesses are left, So that absence of everyday people is what makes criminality to go up. And that is also the period that law enforcement agents are it's a very tough period because the presence of people can reduce the incidence of crime because there are eyes everywhere.
All right. So, all right. I'm not talking about insecurity, as rightly pointed out. But this time of the year is when people have people plan their holiday. Especially those in diaspora, right? And even those within Nigeria, we also plan marriages, wine carrying, weddings, and what have you. Now, let me bring in Jide here, since we're talking about insecurity. And what happened last week or thereabout in Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and so on. There were killings. Of course, we felt so bad about that. And of course, the governor of Enugu State did what he could, to bring in the IGP and others to wade into that. Jide, what do you make of that, considering the period, the returnees are coming from different parts of the world, and as the retired gentleman said here, that, it's also a thing of the mind. If you feel safe, you go home. When you go to the east, people here will be telling you, how are you going to the east? There is danger in the east. I said, but I'm there, nothing is happening. And those in the east will be asking you if you're in Abuja, Abuja is surrounded. Are you? Look, I'm in Abuja and nothing is happening. So it's a way of, but if you feel safe, you go to where you want to go. So what's your own assessment?
One unusual thing which just occurred to me is that we are having a Christmas that is coinciding with political season. And because it's coinciding with political season, there is a lot of activities, political activities going on. And criminality, political violence is also getting into the mix of Christmas. And you see, you cannot have a holistic assessment because it depends on where you are residing. Many families I know refuse to travel this year because they said they don't have money, or that home is not even safe for them to go to. You could see many marriages that used to take place in the East. It's not taking place in Abuja. Funerals, you just go and bury, come and do celebration in Abuja. Yeah. These are unusual things. People, my landlord is an Igbo man. He said he's not traveling. He said with all the madness going on in the South, he cannot go home. And so he's staying back. Last year, he went for 2 weeks. So these are dynamics that are, because politicians and political activities as heightened. Election is February. So you see a lot of political activities mixing with Christmas celebration. Definitely, the people at the grassroots will be better for it in terms of getting some gift from political class who are contesting election. Oh, this is your wine for Christmas. But don't forget, I'm contesting for Senate. This is your goat. This is your bag of rice. But don't forget, I'm contesting for governor. So the politicians will have to spend a lot more than they do at this season than they do previously. But for ordinary citizens like my Oga and I, it doesn't really change anything beyond the fact that we wish we had more money in our purse to be able to have a better celebration than we have.
Thank you, Jide. Thank you very much. We'll come back to the studio, but let's bring in the Vice President, International Transport Federation, Najim Yasin, who's again a familiar face on Good Morning Nigeria. And I don't know how cold the lorry is now, but let me ask you a funny question. Have you received any hampers yet?
Hello?
No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I said, have you received any hampers yet?
No,
No
not
hampers.
yet.
No hampers. Have you given?
I have not given.
Aha. Why, Vice President?
Because of the economic situation of the country.
All right, let's talk about transport fare. You know, I was discussing with someone yesterday. I said I remember my elementary science. It tells me that whatever goes up, you know, must always come down, but certainly not with transport fare. Is there any sort of incentive for travelers at this period from your members?
Yeah, you see, thank you very much. This period is festivity period, and you can look at what is happening. The fuel scarcity is hitting everywhere because in some area, in some part of the country, our members buy petrol at rate of more than even 300 naira per liter. Here in Lorry yesterday, I bought in my car 260 naira per liter. If you compare all this, you don't expect the cost of the transportation to come down. These are things that makes the price to rise. And even other amenities that our members goes to, everything have gone high, food item and all other things. So that is why you cannot find a stable transport fares in the country.
We're staying with you, Nigerian. Yes, transport fare is on the high side. There's fuel scarcity. But in other parts of the country, we don't have scarcity of fuel. What we have is an increase in price of increase in pump price, like a 250, 240, as you have also observed in Kwara State. Now, considering all of that, your men, take advantage of that situation to now, hike the price to a point where it becomes difficult for ordinary Nigerians to travel. But I must commend the governor of Borno State, Governor Professor Zulum. What he did yesterday, I saw on the news, he actually paid transport fares for people who are going down to the east or southern part of the country for a Christmas celebration. Very, very commendable indeed. So what are you doing in terms of letting your men know that there should be a limit to this hike? Is there any kind of compromise that you are willing to take to at least be part of a Christmas celebration? Let Nigerians know that they're also part of Christmas celebration. Is there a possibility for you to reach out to your men and your associations across Nigeria to, of course, bring down the cost of transport fare during this period?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you said, we have leadership that control the parks in various parks throughout the country, and we direct them to make sure that they put eye. They shouldn't allow the members to charge anything, any fees of their wish. There is a regulation which the leadership in the parks, any vehicles that goes out of our motor parks have a regulated price, which we didn't allow, because that is the area where we too can contribute to the development of the country. So we don't allow it. And we still call on the members to make that, the leadership, to make sure that they put eye on each of the vehicles going out of the motor parks so that the prices will not go high beyond the expectation.
Sorry, Claire. In addition to that, what about maintenance of vehicles? We have a FRC rep here. Your men oftentimes don't engage in regular maintenance of their vehicles. That of course results in breakdown of vehicles along the roads across Nigeria, and of course drive culture of your people. Some are very rough on the road. What are you doing about that? Is there any way you also educating them on how to drive? Because if you see them now, very early in the morning, they have already taken what my people call aparacha, some gin in the morning, as you're about to travel, you know that the driver will already be smelling, something, and on the road, you will see that he's speeding, doing wrong overtaking, and what have you. Dangerous driving across Nigeria. What are you doing about that?
Thank you very much. You see, the drivers, those that goes out of the various motor parks out of the country, because when we go to the road, you cannot differentiate. There are those who just move on the streets. They are not from the parks. So our leadership there, we don't have control on those who are not coming from the motor parks. But those who are going out of the motor parks, we make sure that there is no one that will go out in a mode of alcohol or whatever. And we should make sure that his vehicle is roadworthy. But when you find the vehicles on the highway, you can't differentiate those that comes out of the motor parks or those that are on the highway. And this is the area where the Federal Road Safety Corps are on the highway to checkmate all these excess and these rough drivers, so that they can make sure they put them to their senses. But I assured you that those that are going out of the motor parks, we shouldn't allow. Because I hear the Federal Road Safety Deputy Commissioner talking that there are some vehicles that their vehicles are not up to date, and they'll pick people before Abuja to Babalada, they will stop, and then they will be looking for this thing. Those vehicles are not the vehicles that come out of a motor park, because before a vehicle comes out of a park, we make sure that that vehicle is roadworthy. But people picking passenger at the roadside, and that is why we are calling that anybody that want to board a vehicle should go to designated motor parks throughout the country and board a vehicle. So if there is anything, the union there or the driver will be held responsible, because we have his number and the details of those vehicles. So these are what is happening on the highways.
To take advantage of the favorable Zoom connection and just speak with you also. I know that the spirit of festivities like Christmas and even Salah celebrations, it's all about making sacrifices, and during those periods, Nigerians are expected to also make some sacrifices. And you see the different sectors, you see the FRSC bringing out more people, you see the different other segments that are responsible for maintaining peaceful and peace and security during this period, playing their own role. What kind of sacrifice are your men also bringing in at this period, during this period? That's one. Then secondly, you talked about regulation. Do you have standard transport fare for all routes?
Yeah, we have a standard transport fares in all routes throughout. That is why I said all motor parks, you can't charge anything that is not already being, we have the fares. And no matter how it is, if you are going out of the motor parks, there is what they are charging. You must make sure that you cannot charge what you want. But if it is not where we control, it is outside the park or these private parks, they charge anything they like. But in the motor parks, where the union is, you can't charge anything. It is because we know that is the area that we too can contribute our own quota. But apart that, all those privates charge anything they like. So, and this in our own way.
Yes. Okay. Assuming I'm traveling from Ilorin, for instance, from Garage in Ilorin to the southeast. I mean, Garage is you control the garage park in Ilorin. What is the standard transport fare. And again, what will be the standard transport fare from the parks here in Abuja, maybe to the southwest or to the southeast?
Right now, I can't tell you because we have the members, we have the leaders in the parks. And as I'm talking to you now, I can't tell you that this is what is charging from Abuja to Southwest. But if your men went to our designated motor parks there, they will see that the fare we are charging is still what we are charging all over. And if they come to the park here in Loni, you find the same thing. But now, as I'm talking to you, I cannot tell you that this is what is being charged. But we have a standard charge. And we didn't allow them to charge beyond that charges. And as I've told you, the fuel and everything, they sell as anything they like, and nobody controls them or whatever. But if you go to the parks, we didn't hide the price beyond the reach of the common people.
All right, Najim, thank you indeed. I wasn't expecting you to tell us the standard price, because I know that if you have to buy a bus, the type of vehicle also determines how much you are charged. If you want to use a car,
he said it is regulated.
It is still under that his regulation, because if you want to use a car, it's more comfortable. You pay for it. If you want to use a bus that perhaps have 4 people on one line of the seat, of course you pay less. Okay, and so on. So I understand that. I understand.
It also depends on the days.
Exactly, the days. Yes.
As the days goes by.
Okay, let me bring in a Coyote panel here. I have a concern. I sometimes ask myself when I see your men, ask myself whether you people are really backing and not biting. I was one of the first sets of special marshals in Abuja in 2006. So I understand your operational methodology. Fine, well articulated. But my point is this: when you're on the road, let's be practical, and you see somebody doing one way, driving against one way, and your man will be busy trying to direct him, get back to the line, as if he's begging the person to somebody who has already, who's already at fault. Now, I was expecting that when any person is caught doing that, you don't need to talk to him. You stop him, take his details, take his plate number details, give him a ticket and go. You don't need to go to him. Give him a ticket of 5,000 or 10,000. Monitor him. Within 7 days, if he doesn't pay, you climb the vehicle. So people are not respecting FRSC. So let Nigerians know really what are your responsibilities on the road. Is it just to avoid crashes? What do you do to enforce it? Is it just for you to come and say, oh, zero safety? If you want to answer a call, you put it down. Like this. When you pass, you put it on again. You continue and all that. So when would your men will start biting? So because people, to be honest with you, Nigeria ranks among the highest, how do I put it, number of rough drivers, dangerous drivers. People overtake at bends. You see somebody doing an overtaking at a bend, and this is a trained driver. Some drivers in Nigeria don't even know what is zebra crossing in the first place. I told my children and others, if you try it, they'll crush you. If you get to zebra crossing and they don't even try it, just find a comfortable place and cross. Because if you stand on the zebra crossing, many drivers do not know that if anybody stands on that line, that you should stop and let the person pass. It doesn't happen here. And I personally asked some private drivers on my own investigation, what is zebra crossing? I don't know.
Kieran, I'm not answering for him and I'm not standing forward for them. But I think that the FRSC now is more humane in terms of approach. But they also need maybe
let him talk to us
on technology. Using technology, to
if you are being humane and the job is not done and people are still driving rough, what sense does it make?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Kieran. And it's so nice hearing the way you see it, your view, which is important. But one thing I need to let you know is that you live in Abuja, and if you talk about, you started by saying people drive against traffic, for instance. Let's use the Nyanyan Road, for example. That is where people drive against traffic. When there is pressure and you see somebody coming from his house and his house is on the side where he needs to go and make U-turn maybe about 1 kilometer away, and he just decided to try his luck and drive against traffic. You know, what you need to understand is that there is dynamics about traffic management. If in the course of trying to punish one odd person, you will obstruct 10, 20, 50 law-abiding citizens, it's better to, as much as you can, verbally, quickly warn that offender and let him go.
Please explain that again.
Okay. You see, somebody is driving against traffic, and for you to be able to stop him, it will affect those that are driving on their normal lane.
So what I mean is this, sir. If you stop him temporarily, give him a ticket within 2 minutes. I've done that, and let him go because he's going to pay money. Give him tickets and he goes, and the traffic flows again. My concern is that person should be punished for what he did.
Yes.
Let him go and pay like 5,000, 10,000. He won't do it again.
The punishment we talk about, actually, punishment is not about that money that he's going to pay.
But for him,
listen. Sometimes what we do is to get his identity and bring him to something like a classroom like this.
Yes.
He spends 1 hour, sometimes maybe 45 minutes. We show him what he has done, and people who did like that and are not lucky enough to be arrested by road safety or police or VI or anybody, something more severe. Somebody more severe arrested him. He crashed. Maybe you lose a limb or you lose your life. When they watch the video of crash scenes and see that, okay, truly this person drove against traffic, this is what happened to him. So I was even lucky that his road safety that arrested me, it was not accident. That person goes home with something at the back of his mind. It will take time before he will do it again. So that idea of we write ticket and give him, then FRSC does not have the power to decide, okay, what you have done is 50,000, I'm going to charge you. Something has been written in the law that if you do this, this is what will happen to you. If you are seen using phone while driving, you will pay 3,000 naira. And I cannot go beyond that. I cannot say, this man, when I warned you last time, you say you will never do it again, you have done it again. So it's no longer 3,000 naira, it's going to be 10,000. I cannot do that because the law says, if you do this, this is the punishment. And that punishment is that if you accept that it is, okay, I did it, and I'm going to pay the fine. If you say, no, I didn't do it, if you want to dispute, then I have to charge him before the magistrate, and I have to convince the magistrate that he actually did that. So before the magistrate say, okay, yeah, go and pay the fine. Okay. So that's the way it is. So, but what I want to say is that it's better for us to continue advocacy to enlighten the people, because FRS government cannot be at every spot, everywhere. So we need to let people know why they should be safety conscious. Not, it shouldn't be we are on the road, we are looking for who is going to commit offense so that we punish him. That does not change the attitude of people. That does not make our society better.
To amplify my question, so I can also conclude.
Yeah.
All right. I watch one TV program on one network. When your men, your equivalent of your men, when they're on the road, if they get you, they'll pack you. If they'll give you one electronic. If you are drunk, if you've taken some level of alcohol, 50%, you go in. As a matter of fact, they just take you to somewhere, examine you, interview you, talk to you, advise you, and all of that. You go to court. They'll tell you the date you go to court, and then if they look at your offense, you can withdraw a license for 1 month or 2 months. You'll not be driving, and all of that. They'll do that. So what I'm asking is, it's not your making. Does it mean that FRSC should be restructured or redesigned in terms of the act establishing you to empower you more to enforce what you are preaching? FRSC has been there for over 20 years now, and Nigeria's drive culture has not changed. So that bothers me a lot. It has not changed. We are ranked among about the second in the world when it comes to road crashes since last year, and we're still there among the world. We're over 190 countries of the world, and we're number 2 in terms of crashes. So what are we now achieving? If the law establishing FRSC did not empower it to enforce what you are sensitizing people on, then for me, I don't know. Maybe others could join us.
Okay, I know you would like to respond to that, but we talked about breathalyzer, and I know there was a time the FRSC, made a lot of sensitization on the use of breathalyzers. Are you going to deploy that in different, and then you're also deploying 743 patrol vehicles across the country.
Yes.
What informed this number? What were your anticipation?
Thank you. For the issue of drunk driving, technology has made it very easy to do enforcement on that. We have breathalyzers, different categories of. We have the electronic evidence-based. We also have the disposable ones. So they have been deployed. However, we will not stop everybody and say, okay, everybody stop, we want to test it. It's when we see somebody doing something, you suspect. That's what the law. When you suspect, then that is when we stop.
Many Nigerians drivers are doing so many things, suspicious things on the highway.
Yes, that's when we stop them and then we test to be sure whether is this person has he taken alcohol, and also even that breathalyzer. The law expects that it is when it has gone to certain level, that is when you have to stop the person, take the vehicle from him and ask him to go and take a rest, or you charge him to a mobile court. If the blood alcohol concentration has not gone beyond the legal limit, you leave the person.
What does this imply? Because I don't understand why you are giving us this detail. I mean, it has to be used. I have not seen your men using it in Yaya. And Yaya is a crazy.
No, we have it. Even we go there now, we have it. They are using it. I'm telling you, they are using it.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of it that have been deployed now.
Let's ask Jide to come in here because I am worried that the law establishing FRSC did not make provision for certain functions by the agency to really ensure that the reason for which it was established can be felt by ensuring that Nigerians drive well. What do you think about the act establishing FRS? Should it be touched? Because from what he's saying, he has no power to do so many things. They could like to do, but has no power to do that. You can't charge somebody, if you're using phone 5,000. See, you can go to jail for doing that elsewhere. You can go to jail for doing that using your phone while driving elsewhere. 2 weeks, 3 weeks jail, or your license withdrawn for 1 month or 3 months, and so on.
Well, I think it's within the purview of the new Corps Marshal to initiate, maybe through the presidency, for revision of the setting up FRSC. I know managing traffic in Nigeria is peculiar, given the fact that the roads are bad and the vehicles are also bad. And there are multiple agencies doing practically the same thing.
VIO.
There is VIO, there is LASMA in Lagos, there is the road safety themselves, there is police. So you have this, and I think the intendment, from what I heard Deputy Corps Marshal say, the intendment is not to punish, is to work towards behavioral change. And I think if they increase their enlightenment, like this video they make you watch, when you see human beings burning, or somebody who was alive this minute and the next minute is lying, lifeless, it makes you sober. There is no preaching that does more to your psyche than to see that it could have been you. So I agree, Kieran and Claire, that it lies within the powers of the Corps Marshal to have dialogue with either the supervising ministry or the president to say there's a need to touch some sections of the act to give it more teeth, to be able to confront modern day drive culture. Because really speaking, the drive culture of average Nigerian leaves much to be desired. And even if FRSC have twice the number they have to operate within the law. There was even a time that road safety was taken to court because somebody committed a crime. And that crime was committed on a state road. And FRSC is said to be a federal agency. The person did not contend that he didn't commit the crime. He went to court to challenge the fact that, yes, I committed that crime, but I didn't commit it on a federal highway.
Yes.
So you have no right to challenge. You can see how technical people can be when it comes to, particularly those who know their rights. And he says something which is very instructive. If you park somebody and say you are driving against traffic, and there is no CCTV to support your claim, he can deny. And if, from what he said, if he says, I didn't do it, it now leaves you to take him. IFRC cannot impose that sanction. He has to now take him to a magistrate. And then it is his word against the driver. So it is now left to the discretion of the magistrate to say, okay, from what I've seen, you committed the offense or you didn't commit. So there are challenges with contemporary management of traffic. I agree 100%. That's why. And the personnel are not enough, which is why people like you, Chief, have to be brought in as special marshal. But how much are we doing to help the system? The volunteer culture, some of us who claim to be special marshal are even caught breaking traffic rules. You see them put the vest on the dashboard, and then when you arrest them, say, don't you know I'm a special marshal? But that should even confer on you, discipline. Yeah. That you were picked among the lot to help in managing traffic. So I think we just need a whole lot of reorientation. Laws alone will not do it. I agree, we can fix the law, we can tie the nuts and bolts of the law. But if we do not have attitudinal change, if the motor park operators are not cooperating to ensure that even in their own motor parks, there are no sales of alcohol, because these have been banned, that you cannot have people selling alcohol and drugs within the motor parks. But go there today, you see them selling paraga, law, and all manner of stuff. So is it road safety that will leave the highway to come and be enforcing that? So they need the support of the drivers' unions. Yes. They need the support of ordinary citizens, the roadman, the special marshals, the cooperation of other traffic management agencies like the police, like the VIO, like the state-based traffic management agencies. They need to work collaboratively. Yeah, but where there is a tough war, this is me, this is my territory, you cannot come here and be dictating to me and all of that. That's why we see a lot. Let
me pause you, catch some breath. Thank you, for bringing this point out. And I'm sure that Comrade Najim Yassin would like to respond to this. But we will start off with Wing Commander retired here when we come back from a short break. And we'll also give you the opportunity to respond. Let's take a short break now.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled a witch, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, you don't old, make it do die, make everybody for rest, to ailing parents, uncles and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties, and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities around the country. Daily situation reports coming in from states 2 months ago, it has shown relative peace on many of our highways, such as Abuja, Kaduna Birnin Gwari, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership, Alhaji Mohammed Meitakobi, the Executive National President of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria.
In 774 local governments, will be able to put all our structures in everywhere. I'll be able to bring the retail members together, to reconcile them, to come and work for the progress of the association.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more. Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. We're glad you're still with us this morning on Good Morning Nigeria. We are looking at the Christmas celebration and the activities that are usually characterize the period. Now we are taking on different dimensions of conversation: security, food items, rising price of food items, high cost of fuel, scarcity of fuel in some places, and what have you, all happening within this very period. And of course, our guests have been trying to do justice to the issues my colleague and I have been able to raise this morning. And to continue the conversation, let's bring in Wing Commander Musa Samanu, retired. My colleague Claire raised a number of issues shortly before we went on break, and that has to do with the explanations, offered by our friend here from the road safety. So what's your own contribution?
So my take is that sometimes, a lot of times, Nigerians or a lot of organizations go about saying we need some kind of our acts to be tweaked and so on. But honestly, if you look at starting from our constitution and the rest, we have so many laws out there that we will be able to do a lot of things. But sometimes we still ask for more without implementing what is there. Like the issue of rightly by the court martial that the highest perhaps is 3,000 for call and so. Now let's start with that. For every person that is making a call, give him that 3,000. If that's the highest that could be given, the inconvenience of going to pay for that 3,000, that checks a person. I mean, no matter how rich you are, you don't want to be paying 3,000 every day and so on. Then secondly, I feel sometimes also that we want to be too nice. Every agency that is supposed to enforcement is not about being nice. Yes, you have to be very civil, but you have to be very deliberate. You have to be very firm when those offenses are committed. I was just talking that if you're coming from Nyanya also, by that starting from Karu Bridge, Sani Abacha Barracks Bridge, you see people coming against the traffic in the morning. Yeah. And before you realize somebody is just coming right against the traffic, you can imagine when accidents happen. And it doesn't matter if you have to take a person to court. That's fine. Take him to court or her to court. Let them know that when they commit this offense, they are going to court. Even if it's, we know how long the judicial system takes to, or even if it's a fast track and so on. But let's implement that. Let's try to do it. People, that can serve as a deterrence. When people see what happens to the next person, the time, the resources, and so on, there is that likelihood. But I think personally also, again, that we are allowing too many people to drive on the ways that ought not to be on the road. For example, I think it's very easy to get the driver's license. This is my personal experience. Personal view. I feel that the road safety should do more to ensure that people have to go through all those processes, know the rules and regulations when it comes to driving. And how can someone that lives, say for example, from a village where there are no 2-3 vehicles, and you bring him to the heart of, say, Maitema or Asokoro, and give him a vehicle to drive? He will not understand some of these issues and so on. So you have people that are not supposed to be on those roads. They are on the road. So I think more can be done in terms of ensuring that people go through the process to get these licenses, and when there are infractions and so on, that there are some kind of ways that they get back and ensure that they learn the basic rules of driving, and maybe the signages and so on and so forth.
And the culprits, I must say, are men in uniform.
Yes, and again, no, I agree.
Incidentally, you are very right.
Yes.
They are the ones that will not obey traffic because they are in uniform.
But do you know, you'll be surprised. I live in the barracks. Internally, within the barracks, there are campaigns to ensure that, one, you get your driver's license. There are times, the Air Force barracks that I lived on, you close the gate entirely. You can't get in or out without a driver's license, without ensuring that your particulars are there. They do sensitization, they invite the road safety. I think what used to happen, and this is back to the authorities in the military and so on, we have to take responsibility. When you wear uniform, you have additional responsibility to obey
outside the barracks.
Yes, outside the barracks, to even show good example. Within the barracks, you can't do that. Then why should you do it inside the barracks? Within the barracks, there are speed limits which are observed. The military police, that's the air police, naval police, or the air police, apprehend people, impound vehicles within the barracks. If you go against that, let's say minors on the barracks, you can't get that. But like I said, a lot of these agencies, we want to be too nice. So maybe that is creeping also in our barracks and so on. And when we come out here where people behave in a way that is unexpected of them. But yes, I agree. But it's a misnomer. The military does a lot of sensitization. They impound. And those that are caught, honestly, if you are caught, let's say by the road safety, and sent back to the military, you'll be surprised the harsh punishment that are given to personnel. So because they get away. So I'll encourage the road safety. If people in uniform do that, report them. They have units, report them, because the sanctions are very, very high when you do that in uniform in the barracks, because they can charge you for so many things. They can charge you for a conduct that is prejudice to service discipline. They can charge you so many reasons why you can't be punished when you do that, especially when it is outside. The military takes it highly exceptional in terms of people that tarnish the image of the institution outside the barracks.
Let me take you again. We don't have time on security. We hear the slogan all the time: security is everybody's business. But there are those that are trained, to provide security. So, what should those that will be, embarking from one place to the other, and those that will be leaving their homes behind? What are those primary security tips that they must abide?
So the first thing is personal security is your responsibility. First of all, use that sixth sense. Security is about also using the sixth sense that is in you, or common sense if we put it that way. So know where you are going to. First of all, go know the means, to know the way I'm headed to. What is the security situation there, so that you prepare yourself psychologically and so on. Then back here, like we said earlier on, look at your surroundings. Let's put security lights. Let's have very good and cordial relationship with our neighbors. But also very important, there's this community-based security arrangements that are made. Some of them tend to be very active and very, to a large extent, professional and so on. So let's also try to improve on that. I am aware that the last time we were here with the Deputy Commissioner of Police, they spoke about arrangements that are made by the police and other security agencies during this festive period. Now there's the issue of let's pay attention. Let's use that sixth sense. When you see something, say it to the next person. When there is something that is unusual, report. Say to something, you don't have to go to the police. Just ask your neighbor, I thought this and so on. So let's be observant. When we are going, let's also be mindful of those that are of our environment. Let's also put others into consideration. And I think when we do that, when we do all this, the small things, the society, everybody does that. You find out that it makes it a safer place and a safer time to live.
All right, thank you. That's on security, but let's return to Jim Yasin once more. You are not going to speak on security, but on the issue of Baraga or Baraga, that your men normally take. These days, if you go to parks, you may not find the sellers within the parks, but just outside, just 2 steps away from the park, and you get it. Now, what would be your suggestion with respect to how your men can be disciplined? Because whether we like it or not, there are good drivers and there are bad drivers. They are all licensed to drive, but some go on the road and, of course, try to maneuver the car. Some want to be James Bond. Some want to, show that their cars are more healthy in terms of how you can use it to maneuver and speed and what have you. Now, if they are caught, what kind of discipline would you prefer to be given to your men to ensure that they don't return to the bad ways of driving? Assuming your drivers are caught on the road by FRSC, would you suggest that their licenses be withdrawn temporarily or be punished by way of paying a fine, or what? What would be your suggestion? Because there must be something to be done to ensure that they abide by the rules and regulations guiding driving in the country.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Federal Road Safety Corps have the rules for punishment for any drivers that violate the traffic sign or traffic offender. And what I would say here is to call on the Federal Road Safety Corps to enforce all these rules so that the bad drivers can be put into their senses. And the issue of this paragraph or whatever, we have said it in many times and in many forums, that you go to the designated motor parks that we are controlled, you can't find anywhere that they are selling paraga inside the designated motor parks. And this is this work of the security agencies to move into the park, and anyone they find selling paraga and whatever, let them get him arrested. Because the motor park is not where, if paraga, you go to the beer parlor or whatever, but not in the motor parks. So the security agency can enforce and make sure that with conjunction of our members to make sure that they get rid of these people selling paraga inside the parks, because they are trying to endanger the life of the commuters. So this is my own and call on the Federal Road Safety Corps that they should enforce any offenders of the traffic offense so that it can be a deterrence to all those that are bad drivers. This is what I can say here.
Is there any within this period? This it's just 2 days to Christmas celebration. Is there anything that you've noticed in terms of the volume of people making moving from place to place, and in terms of safety, in terms of the accident? Because I know that from the records we have from FRSC, it says there was an 8% reduction in crashes this year than last year. I don't know how he will have to confirm for us. So what have you seen in terms of ability of your men to ensure safety on the roads?
Yeah, it is. We have been calling on them, call on the drivers to make sure that when they are on the highways, they should abide by the road signs on the highways. And we make sure that there is a workshop, seminars, calling on the driver, because this is a festivity period. There is rush, people moving from one place to the other, to make sure that they are orderly on the highways and all these things. But more so, this period, we know it is a serious time for the FRSC, because most of the vehicles on the highways, you will see those who are not even professional drivers, because it is driving that everybody think if he learn a vehicle for 2 months, 3 months, he has become a driver. There is a professional drivers from those who are not professionals, because professional drivers, you go through all before he got his driver's license or whatever. But there are people that will just enter the road. It's not a professional driver, and you carry his vehicle on the highway, be driving, over speeding or whatever. So all those ones, it is not all the drivers on the highways are members. So this is the work, this is the area where the Federal Road Safety Corps should make sure order their men to enforce and arrest those who are violating the road sign.
Thank you once again, Rajim, for reaching us all the way from Kwara State. Gentlemen, there is an increase in vehicular movements. That's just the basic thing. Yeah. And I want to ask you whether FRSC is equipped, not just in terms of vehicles, but in terms of other gadgets that you may require to carry out your responsibility. And again, do you have enough staff to cater for the coverage of the 36 states of Nigeria and of course Abuja? And this issue that Jide raised will concern on whether you have powers on state road or federal road and all of that. I don't know whether that is in play. And again, we used to have a categorization of licenses or something. I don't know whether that's still in existence. We have E license, B license, and what have you. Just quickly, just touch on all of this before we conclude.
Thank you very much, Gideon. Yeah, you load me with questions, but it's good. It shows that you are like every other Nigerian. We are so interested in what happens on the road, because that is the mode of transport that we use most. 90% of movement of goods, services, persons is done on the road. The issue of staff, well, we don't have enough staff to monitor the 204,000 kilometers of road and then the movement of 200 million Nigerians. So, but we make the best use of what we have. We have vehicles, we have tow trucks, ambulances to take care of rescue services, and we also have FRSC activity is actually technology based. We employ a lot of ICT in our job. As we speak, in my control room, I can see what is going on all over Nigeria. We have body camera. Once, like the second Niger bridge that has just been opened now, from my office, I'm watching the traffic there, and I can give instruction to my men if I believe that the way they are positioned is obstructing the traffic. Your job is to make the traffic flow, not to obstruct it. So I talk to them. The same thing, I'm monitoring the Murtala Bridge in Kotokarfi there. You know, we observe the trend of the traffic, and then when it's getting snarled up ahead, we can see it and then tell the people that are close to the bridge that there is a deluge of traffic that is coming. So make sure that if there is any obstruction by the roadside, remove them so that 2 lanes can be flowing correctly. So technology helps us a lot, that where we used to put 10, 15 men, we could put just one person who's wearing a camera to help us, you know, to see what is going on, to monitor the traffic. So that is there. Then we also work with these state traffic management agencies that you talk about. There is no conflict. We complement each other. For instance, in Ogun State, we have Trace. By this time, Trace will come to Mowe, they come to Shagamu to join us. Because at the exchange there, you see the traffic there. As many people as possible that come to help, they are welcome. So even as special marshals, we expect that when you finish your program, you come to the road, come and join us. You say you ran away now.
You want to bring me back?
Yes,
you can negotiate.
So no. Like Mr. Jide said, that spirit of voluntarism.
I volunteered.
Yes. I know, but you ran away.
I ran away because
all right.
Because I want to work out.
Thank you very much. Yes, we really don't have much time now. But in just 30 seconds, which are the notorious highways in terms of traffic and crashes?
Okay. I would not want to say notorious now, but the flashpoints. We call it traffic jam prone areas. The major bridges, particularly, we talk about the Murtala Bridge in Kotokarfi there. They were talking about the 2 Niger bridges now. Luckily for us, the Minister of Works, you know, opened the bridge so that it can be used during this period. So it has given us a great relief. However, people coming from the west facing the east, many of them are not aware that the second bridge is open. Some don't even believe. I was there Tuesday last week, and we're virtually begging them, the bridge is open. There are security men, please go this way, use the bridge. You will cut off the whole of Onitsha. If you are going to Imo, you are going to Abia, you are going to Cross River, Akwa Ibom. And right on the bridge, those of them that agree, when they saw it, say, wow, I can't believe it. I've cut off Onitsha. I've saved 1 hour. You know, so we are using this opportunity to tell people, please use the second Niger bridge if you are going eastwards. Thank you very much.
Deputy Commercial Operations, I didn't want to stop you when you started talking about the second Niger bridge, but we must go. Thank you. Joshua Kayode.
That bridge was built for me.
You are taking our time. Joshua Kayode Fanola, Deputy Commercial Operations, Federal Road Safety Corps. Thank you very much for joining us. Wing Commander Musa Salmano, retired development, peace and security expert. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Jide Ojo is a public affairs analyst, our own in-house analyst. Always a delight to have you, Jide. And of course, we had joining us via Zoom all the way from Ilorin, Kwara State, is Comrade Najim Yassin, who is the Vice President of International, I'm trying to get it now, Transport Federation. Thank you very much, Comrade, for joining us. All right, let's quickly take a look at sports. And we hear the Super Eagles of Nigeria drop 3 places in the world and drop 1 place in Africa in the latest FIFA rankings. And the Central Bank of Argentina are also reportedly making moves to put World Cup winner Messi's face on one of its currency notes.
The Super Eagles dropped 3 places in the latest monthly ranking released by FIFA on Thursday. The ranking was released on the official website of the World Soccer Governing Body on Thursday. The 3-time African champions dropped from 32nd to 35th position in the world. Jose Peseira's side although maintained their position among the top 5 teams in Africa. They however slipped from 4th to 5th position. The Atlas Lions of Morocco moved to top position on the ranking in Africa following their impressive performance at the just concluded 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. The Teranga Lions of Senegal dropped to 2nd position on the continent, with Tunisia remaining in 3rd, while the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon jumped to 4th position. Meanwhile, Argentina's central bank are reportedly considering putting Qatar 2022 World Cup winner Lionel Messi's face on a new banknote. Messi led the Albiceleste to a third World Cup title on Sunday after overcoming France 4-2 on penalties at the just-concluded Qatar World Cup. Messi scored twice in regulation time, which ended 3-0, with PSG teammate Kylian Mbappe bagging a hat-trick. And according to El Financiero, Argentina's central bank are said to be contemplating honouring Messi by putting his face on a banknote. Messi and his Argentina teammates flew in home after their World Cup victory and were greeted by millions of fans packing the streets of Buenos Aires.
All right, and that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We thank you for watching, and of course, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. My name is Kirian Umayo.
I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. I do have a Merry Christmas. In other parts of the country, it's already snowing White Christmas. So we'll see you here Monday, and from all of us.